Welcome back to my channel. Today we're going to be potting up some basil and take a look at some of my seedlings. Good morning from the grow room. So this is what we got going on right now. Not a lot up here. So my latest project, my latest seeds that I planted were this tray here. And I don't know what happened with my germination rate. I had it in a nice little incubation chamber, propagation chamber, whatever you want to call it. I was using this that my duvet cover came in. I just took it out like literally a few minutes ago because these guys were getting way too tall for it. So I don't know what happened with my germination. Sorry, these vines up here are hitting the mic. So this is supposed to be Velvet Queen sunflowers, and these are Autumn Beauty sunflowers. It has been, I want to say 2 weeks, so I don't know if I'm going to get anything on those. This here row is Ruby Eclipse. I planted 4 of those and 3 came up, and they came up pretty soon. So I don't know. I've never grown these varieties of sunflowers, so I don't know if maybe they just need a little bit longer. It's been kept moist. It's been kept in a very humid environment, so I don't know. Here my cosmos are doing great. My cardinal climbers, which I was a little scared because they literally sprouted like within 24 hours of planting them, and I'm like, oh my goodness. So patiently waiting to see if they sprout. So these are supposed to be large onion, love in a puff, and the mini sunflower. 3, and now I can see the 4th seedling coming up. So I'm not exactly sure what these are. If you recognize these seedlings, let me know in the comment section below. I think it's zinnia, but I can't swear to it. I mean, it looks like my zinnia and kind of like the gomphrena, and who knows what it is. These I just stuck in here yesterday, and I need to get some kind of I was going to put a chamber on them, and then I realized, you know what, I'm going to take this tray out to the greenhouse today and pot up the rest of my basil. So that will have enough humidity in the greenhouse for them. They should be just fine out there. I won't have to put a dome on them. And then I'm really excited. I don't know if you can see it here or if it's better in the sun. If you can see the gomphrena are just starting to sprout. I kind of started to give up on hope on them. And then I stuck them in the little baggie with the other stuff, and don't do this at home. Okay, I'll stop. I always pick the little seed heads off, and I end up popping heads off of them all the time, and then it makes me really sad and mad at myself. Okay, so then up here, I'll give you a quick update of what's going on up here. So I have these 16 trays. Cells are supposed to be 4 o'clock. So far I have 2 that have sprouted, and I think I see another one coming up here. So hopefully we get a few more than that. These 2 here are my Mongolian sunflowers. So these things are supposed to be massive. It's like the world's largest sunflower. So then I have my parsley, and then I have a mess. So in this menagerie, I have supposedly cucamelons and jelly melons. And I made the mistake of not labeling them because I thought, oh, I can tell them apart. I've grown both of them. I mean, they're both vines, but like jelly melon is very, very prickly and pokey, but I guess not at this small of a stage. We have our little yellow cannas that I got the seeds from the neighbor, and I have one onion, pregnant onion, that's right here. I don't know if you can see, it's just one little stick coming up so far. Then in here, this is where I propagated those other peppers, if you remember. Now I lost this one. I mean, you can see the stem on that was just not long enough. I really wasn't anticipating that one to make it. Another one I did take out and stick in water, so it's going to root in water. But the rest are still sitting in there doing their thing. I don't know if they've really put on a lot of growth yet, but they haven't died back. The cilantro did kind of wilt. You can see here it didn't really take. So note to self, don't do that with cilantro. It doesn't work. But over here, this is the original basil from the original video that I stuck in, and I've actually cut these up here again. That's where I got these 4 from. So these are not the original. The original ones are out in the greenhouse, I think, but I have cut them. This is the cinnamon basil. I've cut them, I want to say 4 times now. Like, they are just monsters. They are really, really growing. So I'm going to be a little careful about where I plant those in the garden, because I'm pretty sure they're going to be a very vigorous plant, but I'm planning on mainly using those as filler for flower bouquets, so that'll be exciting. So that is what is going on up here in the greenhouse, up here in the grow room. So what I'm going to do next is I'm going to take this tray out and I'm going to pop in the basil that is sitting still in the cell blocks out there. So I have some basil that needs to go in here and the loofah if I have room. If not, I will just grab another tray. I do have another tray full of the larger soil blocks. I'll meet you out in the greenhouse. All right, so this is what it looks like when I come out in the greenhouse in the morning and I open the door. I don't usually open it all the way up. I just did this morning because I'm going to be able to sit here and do some potting up. So this is my Pro Mix, which serves as a bit of insulation on the cooler nights, and also my potting seat, my potting bench. So I'm going to be moving this out of the way over there, just or out here. Maybe I'll throw it in the shade, just so I can put these trays here on here and pot up that basil. So let me get it all figured out and situated, and I'll be right back. Okay, so the train is coming and I'm just going to get started by potting up the different varieties. So the first one I'm going to be doing is cinnamon basil. Cinnamon basil before, and this stuff is going like crazy. This might not look too big. I've done like 4 cuttings off these. So this is the original. You can see where I did the original cut in the original video, right down here. And then it grew these 2, and then I have taken more cuttings off of the cuttings upstairs that I showed you earlier. So these are the originals, and those are up there. It's a lot more moist in this container, so the soil kind of falls off a lot easier. But I mean, they're just a much smaller plant. The birds are so happy. I don't mind listening to them now, but I get kind of fed up when it's like, you know, 5:30 on a Saturday morning and they're singing out to the world. Okay, sorry, I just realized the camera's at a really bad angle. So you can see I managed to get the red in and the lemon is in just fine. So these 3, we're gonna kind of make them their own little blocks in a little bit. And up next I have my large leaf basil. So we'll see how this goes. Hopefully we can get these guys in. You agree with me? It's a little warm. We're up to 83 in the greenhouse right now. So you can see there's a little damage to a few of the leaves. We had a few cold nights and I think it was a little too close to the wall there. And so some of the leaves got a little freezer burnt. But pop it right off. Never know, never know. So the way I'm shoving them into these containers, hopefully you can see that, I don't know. Honestly, it's so bright out here, I cannot see the screen. So I have no idea what you can see and what you can't see. So again, here's one that's been topped. There's not much roots on it yet. I'm just gonna cut the larger leaves like that. Doesn't need anything more than that. We're just gonna shove it in there and then just push the soil block around it. I'm going to do that on this one too. Finish it. All right. Okay, so that's my large leaf basil and the red basil, and then the other basil I have is the lemon basil, and those are over here. So next I'm going to throw in my stalks. I'm going to leave my loofah for the end because I know they're going to start going crazy. So these stalks, I never potted them up. They just stayed in this little tiny container and they're doing all right, but the other ones that I have down there I'll show you after, they're like almost a foot tall already. So I feel bad for these little guys. I just kind of ran out of room to even put them anywhere for a little while, so we're just gonna pull them up. And again, I hope this is showing on the screen. Again, it's so bright out here, but it's so nice to have some sunshine for a change. It's just been so rainy and windy. So I've never grown stalks before, and I started these from seed, and I'm really excited to just, because they smell so good. So they're gonna be a really fun, nice addition to my container gardening. I mean, my cut flowers, what am I talking about? I don't know if I'll put them in containers. Might just find a spot in the landscape and shove them all in together. It's funny, some people complain about the train, and I don't mind it. I don't know, I kind of think it's neat to hear it in the background sometimes. I mean, at 3 o'clock in the morning when your window's open, it's not so great, but that's like whenever I hear a helicopter on like a nice sunny day, to me it's so peaceful and relaxing. It takes me back to when I was a kid. I grew up in Oregon, and we were right behind a Christmas tree farm. And so in Oregon, they do a lot of harvesting and planting, and they do a lot of stuff with helicopters. So you would hear the helicopters going around harvesting and picking up the tree. So still to this day, if I hear a helicopter close by, I'm like 6 years old and back at the old house out in Salem. It's funny how sounds and things can take you back like that. Today on Garden Answer Highlights, Laura and Aaron were asked that question about, music. Do you hear songs in your head when you go back to your childhood home? And they answered that and talked about it. But that's one thing that's one sound that really takes me back to when I was young. And I was really young at that house because we moved out of that place when I started first grade. So I was quite young, but I still remember. It was a fairly decent sized property. We had a nice garden out there, corn and orchards. And we had a little creek that ran through part of the property. I remember as a kid going out there and, trying to catch frogs or whatever else was in there. So here's my tray so far. I am going to label it, don't worry. So I got all my stalk in, I got my large leaf basil. This is the cinnamon basil that I just pruned yesterday or the day before up in the bedroom and brought it down. So it's looking a little wilty because it came from inside the house and then out here. But I think the humidity in the greenhouse will do it good, and it should be doing just fine. So I just have one hole here extra, but I have nothing to put in it. So first thing I'm going to do right now is I'm going to label. Label. Because like I showed you earlier, I'm having a little bit of a problem with my trying to figure out what on earth which is which of my vines. See, the loofah looks completely different. I should have just combined the loofah in there. So I'm gonna mark it. I'm using my oil-based Sharpie. So this is the come on. Oh wow, that's way too much. Thank you. Large leaf basil. That looks like a heart. And then these are the stalks. And swing it around. This is the red ribbon. And the cinnamon. Okay, that tray's done. While I attempted to pop this up, I will tell you a funny story about that house I was just telling you about. When I grew up, my dad built it, and I believe I just turned 2. It was 1980, and Mount St. Helens erupted, and it was a pretty big event up there, and it happened to be the exact same day that my parents decided to put in the garden. And so all my mom's family was there, friends and family, everyone came up to help put in the garden. It was like a big to do, and because of the ash everywhere, it was very dark and kind of hazy, and so everyone was wearing painter's masks. And as a kid, I was absolutely terrified. It just freaked me out seeing everybody in masks. So when I was a kid and freaked out by the masks. And I think it wasn't just the masks, it was all the ash and everything. It looked like we were in a big fire. And I'm originally from Alaska, and we had a lot of forest fires. And when I was a kid, we were staying with my grandparents, and there was a big forest fire, you know, like behind the house, and the fire trucks came and demolished our playhouse, which was really sad. But there was always a lot of forest fires, so I don't know if it was maybe like a flashback to that. So I always had fear of fires as a kid. My mom used to actually send in a note to the teachers, please do not make Rochelle watch the fire safety videos because it will give her nightmares. So all right, so I kind of made a mess of my soil blocks by setting everything on them, but that's all right. So now I got my loofah in and my lemon basil. So I'm going to, I think I'm going to run another strip of tape on this side so I don't have to try and get confused. Although it's obvious what that is. I say that now. Famous last words. So this is the loofah and the lemon. So I've got plenty of soil blocks left to do, you know, a couple rows with some squash in there. So I think that's it for the planting part. I do have to try and figure out what to do with these guys. Maybe I'll just put them in little pots. Might be the easiest thing than getting my blocker out, just getting all my dirt out just for those three. That might be what I do. I have a few of those, the grow bags that I made last year, the mesh ones. Sorry, my sunglasses keep falling off my head. So what was I gonna, oh, the stalks. So here, I'll take the camera off. These are really floppy. I guess I should have done something to stack them up. They've been around behind, like I keep kind of turning them around. So they're getting a little bit more light now. But they're much bigger. Like they were started at the same time as the other ones. But you can see they've gotten much bigger. So I think I have 12 of them here of the larger size. So those should be blooming pretty soon. The petunias, and then these are the tiny Tims. And I keep checking in here to see if they've got any babies yet. But I've had enough flowers, but mind me, I'm just manhandling the tomatoes. Alright, anything? Nope. Nope. Oh, but they're healthy. Like they are just... I've never grown dwarf tomatoes before, and I can't get over how stocky and how like dense like the canopy is compared to regular tomatoes. Speaking of regular tomatoes, hello. You guys enjoyed your little snack yesterday with the fertilizer? I think so. You have to give me a little bit of water, and I'm going to water these guys in now that I have the hose hooked up again, which is exciting. But this dwarf pearl has lots of babies. I can show you here. See that? Yeah. And then I noticed this one over here. I think that's the tiniest tomato. Hopefully it's focusing. Right there. Just starting. So these are doing really good. And I do come out and give them a little shaky shake shake. Peppers are doing good. Lots of cilantro. And then here's the rest of the peppers down here. These ones I started quite a bit later than the other ones. And these are hot peppers. Most of them are hot peppers, so they just seem to take forever. They're so much slower than tomatoes grow. Apparently someone is going around behind on their quad. Zinnias were feeling left out. There's the zinnias. They're doing all right. I'm going to start a few more, I think, of the orange zinnias today. Because I want more of those because they're so pretty and they're going to look so nice in some cut flower arrangements and just out in the garden. So, okay, so we're back. So now we are going to be doing some squash. I am starting with this lovely zucchini from Baker Creek. I have never grown squash before. I've never grown any squash, so. Oh, I did. I grew the baby blue pumpkins last year, but I've never grown zucchini, so I just picked the one that looked good at the Baker Creek website, but everything looks good on the Baker Creek website. So I'm just going to stick these guys, oh wait, I'm going to put them in flat because And I'm going to cover them up. That way it doesn't matter which side goes up. So I'm going to do 5 of those for now, or should I do 10? I'm going to do 5. Okay, so these are my zucchini. And then next up I have these white scallop patty pan squash from Rainbow Seeds in New Brunswick, Canada. I ordered from them the first time this summer. I ordered my onion seeds, my calendula. Actually got quite a few things at really good prices and reasonable shipping, so I was very happy with that. So many places have decent prices on their stuff, and then they want to charge you, an extra $10 for shipping, and it's like, yeah, cuts into my seeds. I could buy 3 more packs of seeds for that. Okay, so I'm going to do that's the patty pan. And how many of us only know about patty pan squash from playing Farmville on Facebook all those years ago? Okay, and then I have some Sugar Baby watermelon seeds, also from Rainbow Seeds. Okay, so this video is going to be a bit of a hodgepodge. We got a lot going on. So I already have the one pot in the greenhouse with my bulbs, but these are the canna lily bulbs. Find a spot for these in the greenhouse, and you can see my petunias have been sitting here because I needed the space. They sit kind of where I was working earlier doing the seed. So once I'm going to water everything in, and then I'm going to put these back in their place of honor right by the front door.